Is it normal to get frustrated about being a woman? Really interesting point and totally makes sense to me. It sounds like you're frustrated with the fact that people see your gender before they see you for your own individual self, and they make assumptions based on the gender or stereotypes they have about that gender. Like, why can't people just see people as people instead of seeing them as a gender? When I was younger, I was frustrated. Now that I'm 36, I could give two hoots. And quite frankly, it goes both ways. People are idiots who say, do and think a lot of stupid shit. It's never worth your sanity to even worry about it. Men are frustrated for the way they're viewed. Women are frustrated for the way they're viewed. Just give everyone the middle finger and you do you. I think you're talking about casual sexism. Yeah, it's normal to be frustrated by that kind of bigotry. It's totally normal to feel frustrated, especially as a woman. Society is absolutely obsessed with gender now. You can still be a woman and not be feminine. You can still be a woman and dress masculine. Tomboys seem to have been erased from our culture, and that is so sad. I feel like that's one thing we've gone backwards on. People just do people things. You don't need to erase your womanhood because people tell you that the feelings you have don't conform to gender norms. What you're feeling is very common in both genders. That does not mean you have a medical condition or need to upend your entire life. Each gender comes with its own issues. I think it's hard to be a woman because I am one. It's about being a man, but the men in my life think aspects of manhood suck. I have a female friend who feels the same exact way. In my eyes, she is basically a tomboy. She wears a mix between male and female clothes, men's pants and jeans with pockets, but then a blouse or a top from Zara. She also doesn't use a purse at all, unlike my other female friends. For those wondering, she has not identified herself as non-binary. She is just herself. You do you. You don't need to place or tag yourself within the LGBTQ+ community if you don't want to. In my honest opinion, people sometimes tag themselves to make themselves feel special, when they are just as human as the rest of us. People are just accustomed to the traditional standard of men and women with nothing in between, and there is nothing wrong with that. The issue is when people enforce that behavior upon you. Just be yourself. Be happy, make the chances you need or feel like you need to do, and every comment that just annoys you, let it enter one ear and escape through the other ear. I feel like this all the time. I always feel like I am not feminine enough and that nobody will think I am worthy. I honestly hate being a woman. I wish I was just a tiny bug sitting on a flower tulip. I've heard of Black Americans saying something similar. They would love to go a day without being reminded they are black. It's why stereotypes are harmful even if they are positive. It's setting a standard not everyone can live up to. I think a lot of people will tell you that you might be non-binary, but you aren't necessarily non-binary just because you recognize that a lot of things in our life are pointlessly gendered. Hairstyles, clothes, colors, hobbies, jobs, and that's just the top of the pointlessly gendered iceberg. I think a good test to see whether you are actually non-binary or whether you are just frustrated about pointlessly gendered things is to see if gendered expectations towards other people, and mainly towards the opposite sex, frustrate you just as much as gender expectations towards you or your own sex. You can also read essays from non-binary people and their experience and see how much it aligns with yours. But BTW, just to answer your question, yes, it's normal to feel frustrated about your own gender, whether you are a man or a woman in a society that places a lot of illogical and unnecessary gendered expectations on individuals based on their sex. You're not being frustrated about being a woman, you're frustrated about how the world degrades and discriminates you because you're a woman. And luckily, countless women in the past have felt the exact same way and stood up for themselves and us, fighting for the rights we now have. Which is why we need to improve things for future women. Yeah, it's perfectly normal and it sucks, I won't tell you it gets better, because I don't know if it will for you. All I can do is affirm that your feelings aren't unfounded and offer my support if you ever need to vent. I did an experiment. I made 2 emails and started FB and Twitter accounts. I shared the exact same post with the exact same options. The one that had a woman's profile was routinely bashed. The one with a male profile was coddled and treated as a child. Same post, same comments. The bias is real. I always found it strange how people say, "Don't say this to women," or "Women shouldn't be treated like this," when you could easily just say men don't like being mistreated either. You almost never hear anyone say, "Don't say this to men," or "Respect him, that's somebody's father, grandpa, son, uncle, etc." I think I get exactly what you mean. I'm a woman who presents more masculine, and I've had people tell me that I dress too much like a guy, or might as well be a guy based on how I act. But I'm not trying to be a man, I'm just trying to be myself. If that happens to align more with traditional masculinity, then I shouldn't have to be questioned about it. I have nothing against being a woman, but if being a man would make it easier to be myself, then I would take it. I also feel uncomfortable with gender term stereotypes, and think we as a society need to move past using gender as a descriptor of arbitrary things. It's extremely normal to feel frustrated and even overwhelmed by the constant barrage of casual, and not so casual, sexism that is thrown at women every day. Shit's annoying and exhausting. I feel frustrated when I have to deal with my physical weakness. Bottles are hard to open, a bag of dog food is heavy and I can't carry it myself, and so on. I think you just don't like stereotypes. Yes, I work in a heavily male-dominated industry, and although I am a bit more feminine than other women, we all get lumped in as just women, and I'll be on the receiving end of all sorts of assumptions and critiques that don't even apply. It's very rewarding. It seems to me that you are way too hung up on what other people think of you. The only person who can define who you are is you. If they don't like this smelly boy-clothed woman, fuck 'em, they aren't your people. You be you and make yourself happy. It's your life. Live it by your own terms.